The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, I'm Sabrina Brown. Thank you for joining us. Topping the news, affiliates of the Trade Union Congress on Grand Bahama taking part in strike action today. Members of the Commonwealth Union of Hotel Services and Managerial Union started the day off with a protest at the hotel property in Lucaya. Megan Shepard reports.
A number of unions joining forces in a show of solidarity Wednesday morning, taking to the streets to protest for what many union leaders call their fundamental rights. Vice President of the Bahamas Hotel Managerial Association, Kirkland Russell, says that workers of the Grand Lucayan have a number of major concerns they need to be addressed immediately.
There are some major concerns here at the property. There are concerns with the employer not adhering to the industrial agreement. Some of the basic concerns for the property is simple things like raises, simple things like benefits, like pension. We are very concerned for proper pension for the workers, and that's in both groups. We are very concerned with basic minimum raises. The property, the workers at this property has not been given raises in some 12 years, 10 to 12 years for the majority of the persons who have been here at Atlanta time.
He adds that he is also very concerned about minimum wage in the country.
We have called for years for the government to look seriously at minimum wage and to place minimum wage at a level that an individual could at least survive. $150 per week. It is impossible, totally impossible for a mother of one child, some got 2, 3, 4 children, to take care of family with $150. It is a national disgrace.
Now, President of the Commonwealth Union Hotel Services and Allied Workers Union, Michelle Dorset, sending a strong message to the owners of the Memories Resort.
We are the owners of the bargaining agents, so therefore we are the owners over there also. So we'll be coming for the members over there who are hurting drastically. Maids, $350 per room. That's ridiculous. That's how much they get, yes. And we're going to stop all this foolishness going on in this country today because lights are off. Water is off, mortgage is actually overdue, where the banks is actually taking people out of their homes. So we have to take a stand today in solidarity and let the owners know of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas that the Trade Union Congress is standing solid, and also the government to know that we are workers of this country and we're not going to let no one ride upon the workers who put you there.
Now, President of the Bahamas Marine Dock Refinery, Lionel Morley, calling it an unfortunate situation that workers have to resort to such action. He's encouraging all workers to not be intimidated by large companies, but to continue to fight for rights they've deserved for many years.
There cannot be two laws in this country, one for the haves and one for the have-not. And so I'm subject to law. We want them to be subject to law. The only strength the union members have, the only opportunity union people have, individuals have, citizens have, when they're fighting capital, is to unite, to come together, to show a force of oneness. And what you're seeing here today is a sign of oneness.
Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.
But the strike action wasn't limited to the Grand Lucayan Resort. Other affiliates of the TUC assembled downtown before leading a march through the streets of Freeport, calling for justice on behalf of Bahamian workers. Natalie Martinborough picks up the story.
Members of the Nurses Union joined customs and immigration officers for the early morning demonstration. The affiliates of the Trade Union Congress began assembling in the parking lot downtown Freeport around 8:30 a.m., calling for a resolution to a number of outstanding issues. Executive at the Bahamas Managing Union, Michael Pender, telling union members that the decision to strike was the last resort.
It seems to me that we are digressing. We are going back. to those era when our forefathers, when people like Milo and Sir Lyndon and Clifford Darling, when they had to fight so hard for us. And so we realize that the struggle continues, and we have to be the ones to stand in the gap and to make sure our rights are protected.
Leaders of the Customs and Immigration Union did not offer a comment on the strike action, but trustee with the Nurses Union, Annie Grant Stubbs, says they have all had enough and are tired of waiting for their issues to be addressed.
The nurses are here because we feel that we were not fairly treated, and we went and followed due process. And today we're here as a unity, as a union, to show that we're here legally, so there's nothing that they can do.
Pinder then encouraged the members to continue to take a stand against what they call injustice when it comes to Bahamian workers, issuing a charge to union members to stand in unity and to demand results.
They may think we are divisive, they may think we are destructive, but in the end they would see that it was for a good cause. Just as our forefathers, just as Sir Milo, just as Sir Lyndon, just as Sir Clifford, just as they fought, and the people told them that they're destroying the country, but they made a better place for us. And now we have to go back to that same place that they fought for. And so I just want to encourage you to continue this fight. And as I understand it, we are going to fight until we get some results. We're not going to give in, and we're not going to be intimidated.
Union members then led a march from the downtown parking lot down the Mall Drive to the Ranfurly Circus. Some members later joined the protest at the Grand Lucayan Resort. Natalie Martinborough, ZNS Network News.
ZNS News has learned that the strike action had minimal impact on the Customs and Immigration departments here on Grand Bahama. At the hospital, 41 of 94 nurses scheduled to work did not report for duty. Administrator Catherine Weish telling ZNS News that all departments are up and running and they were able to make adjustments to meet healthcare demands. General Manager at the Grand Lucayan Resort, Ben Davis, did not offer a comment on today's strike and the impact on the operations at the resort. Now, we spoke with the Director of Labor, Robert Farquharson, a short time ago about the strike action undertaken by the TUC.
Hotel, both the Bahamas Managerial Association and the hotel that represents the non-managerial workers at the Al-Lokaya Hotel, the Bahamas Nurses Union and the Bahamas Customs and Immigration Union have all filed trade disputes, and all those disputes have been referred to the Bahamas Industrial Tribunal. In accordance with Section 77 of the Industrial Relations Act, any matter that is before the tribunal, no member of any union and no executive committee of any union should call a strike in the furtherance of that dispute. If they call a strike, anybody that participates in a strike commits a criminal offense.
Farquharson also advising employees that the matter was taken to the Supreme Court and employees have been ordered to return to work.
The Honorable Minister of Labor, D.C. Gibson, went to before a Justice of the Supreme Court this afternoon, Honorable Justice Ian Winder, and applied to the court for an ex parte injunction. This afternoon, Justice Winder granted that injunction, and that injunction has ordered the Bahamas Nurses Union, the Bahamas Customs Immigration and Iron Workers Union, and the Bahamas Educators Managerial Union to cease and desist from participating in any strike action or any form of industrial action. They also ordered those members to report back to work report at the time they were scheduled, and not to participate in any further action until the matter is heard before a Justice of the Supreme Court.
In other news, members of the government's VAT education team on Grand Bahama for a series of meetings. The team will hold a number of sessions to educate the public about the government's plan to implement value-added tax in January of next year. The team began the educational tour with a visit to the Ministry for Grand Bahama this morning. Megan Shepard was there.
The value-added tax education team on Grand Bahama for 3 days, meeting with the stakeholders and consumers on the island. Their aim is to deepen the understanding of the public through a number of meetings. Their first stop, the Ministry for Grand Bahama. Financial Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, John Roll, says that they have been working tirelessly for the last year, preparing for the introduction of the value-added tax. Now that the tax is in the final stages of enactment, Roll says they are meeting with consumers and the business community.
And for consumers to understand what's involved when they go into the shops on January 1, to understand that there will have been some adjustment in prices, to know what to look for. I mean, the important message for the consumer is that when you go into the store on January 1, whatever the prices that you see on the shelf, that price which has changed in most cases from what you paid in December, that is the final price that you pay. So businesses will have to understand then how do they make the adjustment in their prices so that when the consumer picks the items up off the shelf, it already includes the amount of the VAT that they should be paying. Now, when they get their receipts at the cash register, the receipt may look different because businesses could very well elect to break out the items. But the bottom line is that there is no extra amount added to your bill at the cash register.
Roll adds that an office is being established at the Region Center in Freeport, where a team will be available for any questions and consultations. For those in the business arena, he says there are a number of objectives they wish to accomplish.
For businesses, we want them to understand what's involved in registering for VAT. This is a process that's going to go from now until the end of the year. It's going to be in full steam by October. They will need to know what their options are in terms of how often they file returns to the government and make payments for VAT. They will need to know how they claim the credit for VAT that they pay on their purchases and supplies. And they will also need to understand how frequent they have to submit returns to the government.
Now, the VAT office at the Region Center is expected to be opened by the end of the week, but Roll says they are always available through other avenues. Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.
Members of the VAT team also addressed the business community during a luncheon meeting at the Pelican Bay Resort today. Tonight, they will host a town meeting at the Foster B. Pastena Center here in Freeport. Stay with us. There's more news after this.
Bringing news that matters to you. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition.
Welcome back. Police are searching for two men who they want to question in connection with an armed robbery and shooting incident. Reports are that around 1 o'clock this morning, a man was on East Atlantic Drive when he was approached by two men. The victim attempted to run, but he was shot in the leg and robbed of $2,100. The victim was taken to the Rand Memorial Hospital in a private vehicle, and his condition is listed as stable. One of the suspects is described as being 6 feet 1 inch tall, with fair skin, and was wearing a blue hoodie. The other is described as standing around 5 feet 10 inches tall. He was wearing a dark-colored hoodie and armed with a handgun. If you can help police with this investigation, you should contact them at 352-9774 or 5-350-3106 through 12, 911-919, or your nearest police station. Meanwhile, a man was reportedly stabbed by his girlfriend following an altercation over in Grand Key. Police say around 3 o'clock this morning, the 21-year-old man reported to police that while at his home in Grand Key, he was involved in an altercation with his girlfriend, and she stabbed him in the abdomen with a knife. The man told police that he was able to walk to the Grand Key Clinic for medical treatment and will be airlifted to Grand Bahama for further medical care. His condition is listed as stable. Police are investigating. The Grand Bahama Medical Dental Association hosting its 14th annual conference September 25th through the 27th under the theme Healthcare in the Bahamas, Overcoming Obstacles and Looking to the Future. A number of local and international speakers are expected to deliver insightful presentations over a 2-day period on various health issues. Vice President of the Association, Monique Pratt, says topics will range from oncology to the future of medicine.
We have speakers on the business aspect of medicine, and that will last from between 9 a.m. to around 10:30, 10:40 a.m. Our second session in general is about surgery and OBGYN issues and complications here in the Bahamas. We have speakers both locally from Nassau, here from Freeport, as well as United States of America, so that's going to be exciting for us. In our third session, as far as on the first day of our conference, section 3 is on cardiovascular medicine and cardiovascular disease. We have mainly local speakers for that particular session. Our last and fourth session is on New Age medicine, and that entails a lot of challenges that we face here in the community in Freeport and the Bahamas at large. That'll be exciting for us as well.
The conference will wrap up on Friday, September 26th with a doctor's cruise to nowhere, but the highlight of the event will be the 14th annual awards banquet on Saturday the 27th. President Dr. Eric Brown says the banquet will recognize 2 outstanding doctors in the community. The general public is invited to support the event as proceeds will aid the community through various initiatives.
This year's honorees are 2 of our very, very prominent doctors who have made very, very valuable contribution to the Grand Bahama community in the persons of Dr. Ferrantis Leon, who is the consultant obstetrician gynecologist at Duran Memorial Hospital, and I'm sure everybody in Grand Bahama would know Dr. Romeo Fernandez, who's been in Grand Bahama almost 40 years as the medical officer in charge of the Western District.
September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, and the US2 organization is continuing its focus on early detection and prevention. The organization is preparing to hold its annual screening clinic at the Pierce Plaza on Coral Road on September 12th and 13th. Prostate cancer survivor and member of US2, Reverend Percy Kemp, talks about the significance of the screening process.
We need to, be serious about the reality that prostate cancer can affect any man, and there's no 100% way of avoiding prostate cancer. And so our best defense is, if cancer is in our body, to know it at the earliest possible time. And the only way to know if you have prostate cancer is to be screened. And so we encourage all men, if your insurance doesn't cover it, to take advantage of the screening that we're going to do.
US2 is looking to accommodate some 1,000 men, and Kemp is encouraging corporate Grand Bahama to get involved.
One of the things that I'd like to do is to appeal especially to the businesses that employ men, especially if you don't have an insurance that would cover the screening, is to get behind our efforts, support us, donate towards us, and then send your men so that they can be screened, and at least you provide that degree of safety net for them. And then we also want to appeal to the women, the wives, the girlfriends. This is something that's important for your man, for your uncle, your dads. Encourage them to get screened.
Now, the prostate screening clinic is usually free of charge. However, due to a lack of funds this year, US2 is asking those who can to pay a $10 fee. That's a look at what's making news, but don't go away. Sports is up next with Ricardo Lightborn.
Everybody, welcome to Sports with Ricardo Lightborn. Let's get cooking. The YMCA Commercial Basketball League playoffs on court. Game 2 of the semifinals, so let's play some hoops.
The Boca Oilers and Stadol Sharks on court in Game 2 of their semifinal series, and Lamaro Hepburn took in the action right to Boca. The Oilers, Tomasio Dame setting the pace with the move to the hoop. Basket is a game of runs, and the Oilers running with the Sharks. Andrew Williams working on a 17-point game. Game 2 was a tussle. Watch the good passing and a 27-14 lead for Boca. Second half of play. Watch Tomasio Dames control the action in the paint, the basket, and the foul. 20 points for Tomasio. But here comes Statoil. J. Philippe, the pass to Bruno Lang. Bruno netted 17 points in the battle. Amato playing to stay alive in the series. A good move to the hole. The Sharks' big man, Marco Cooper, keeping this one close. Marco scored 20. 66-63, your score in the fourth. Here comes Bourco Oilers. Total team effort as the Oilers went to their deep bench. 9 down. 70-63, the final score. The Oilers are advancing. The Oilers earned a place in the finals, and Statoil Sharks had a good season, and it's come to an end. The Iron Man Hawks, they took game 1 of the series, and game 2 was against the Grand Lucayan Warriors. This was a doozy. Grand Lucayan needed a win in a total team effort, said Coach Garnett Hall. The Hawks, Scott Forbes, is hoping to close it out, but 12 points, Anton 24, you got it. The Warriors, Irvin Lewis simply was not having it, scoring 24 big points. He led the Grand Lucayan to a 49-48 win. They've now forced to game 3. The winner of the series will meet the Bourco Oilers, and it's for all the marbles.
They play that game tonight at 8 o'clock. Well, the Grand Bahama Primary School Sports Association Annual General Meeting and Elections was held at the Tabernacle Baptist Academy yesterday for the 2014-16 term. Ozzie Simmons of Tabernacle was returned as the president. The vice president is Ravana Ferguson of Bartlett Hill. Dr. Russell and Walter Park is the secretary, will be assisted by Gazelle Pinder of Hugh Campbell. Valentina Mullings of Liberty Yard is your treasurer, and Pam Lewis is the scheduling coordinator. She's from Freeport Primary. Now, the schools will actually start off with basketball. That'll be September 25th for ages under 7, 9, 13, and 11. And the volleyball season for boys and girls will be played, and soccer for boys and girls. You don't have to worry too much about co-ed play. Well, I got to tell you that the Minister of Tourism and Member of Parliament for West Grand Bahama, the Honorable Obi Wilson, before his presentation in House of Assembly today, extended condolences to a number of sports legends in West Grand Bahama that passed.
Mr. Speaker, Nancy Russell was one of the individuals who gave life to a community. She made us celebrate as she played on our national softball team, and she brought people together. Mr. Speaker, after illness, she passed away last evening in the United States. Speaker, it's been a bad week for those of us who are from Grand Bahama, because we've lost others, including Stephanie Morley, and also Holmes Rolls, all of whom at one time or the other played sport in Grand Bahama, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I pray that their souls will rest in peace.
And our condolences to the families of those sports legends that have passed on. Let's look at your sports tonight.